Well, hello all. Thank you for joining. My name is Ray Zwiebelhofer. I'm the president of World Software Corporation, makers of Worldox. And I'm sure you all are thinking like we are, such interesting times we are in right now. I hope you're all being safe and all is well with you and your company, law firm. So I wanted to start as we have a different way of working. Our trade shows are being canceled as we look around, and even client visits, which I really enjoy, are being pushed to a later time. I wanted to start doing more meaningful webinars, and not just webinars about how Worldox works, while we probably could do more of those too, but really listing out solutions that our customers have said really help them during this time. Solutions that they're glad they have or they've moved to and are useful, but both in their firm environment, but also when working from home. So first up, we went ahead and said, you know, let's do cloud hosting providers. I hear too much noise out there with cloud apps being the only way to be cloud, meaning one particular app. And instead, we have so many clients, thousands, that are in hosted environments, whether it's their own hosting center or whether it's third-party hosting center or VDI desktop. They host the entire servers for the firms, and all their product, their cloud products and legacy can all be accessed through a virtual desktop and or environment. And it really allows you to have all of your firm in the cloud, not just a particular app or two. So I wanted to get this out, the message out, and have these series of webinars with some of our preferred providers. And from there, I will drop off. I wish you all a good day. I hope you enjoy this. And Hella, you can take over from now, okay?
Okay. So welcome to today's webinar. I'm Hella Schwartz-Grossman, Marketing Manager at Worldox. Before we get started with the webinar, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. Today's webinar will be recorded and the link will be emailed to you afterwards. Everyone is muted right now, but if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar questions pane, and we'll address questions at the end of the webinar. Today's webinar is part of our new legal technology webinar series, where we'll introduce some of our partners. So join us on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for the future sessions. As Ray mentioned, first up, our premier cloud hosting provider partners, and today we would like you to meet ProCirrus Technologies. Our speaker today is Ronny Loew, National Sales Director at ProCirrus Technologies. In addition to over 25 years in sales, consulting, training, and technology, Ronny Loew has worn hats from temporary office staff to business owner. This has helped him develop an in-depth understanding into how professionals consume and interact with technology, as well as how to get the most from an IT budget. When consulting with decision makers, he translates the complexities of technology into plain terms, educates, and assists in making beneficial choices for the firm. Ronny has been with ProCirrus since 2011. During that time, he has been instrumental in the establishment of ProCirrus's reputation as a leader in cloud hosting for professional services firm with a focus on law firms. ProCirrus has grown to support hundreds of firms across the US and abroad. He has also established working relationships with Affinity Consulting Group, Thomson Reuters, SDI, Tabs and Practice Master, LexisNexis, Abacus Next, Needles, Worldox, Coyote Analytics, Orion, Caseware, and a growing list of others. Ronny is also a professional saxophone player with a worldwide touring experience and an avid scuba diver. He lives with his wife and 2 kids in Eagan, Minnesota. And today, Ronny will give you an overview of a cost-effective, secure, and simple way to have your Worldox software hosted. ProCirrus provides secure, cost-effective, end-to-end IT from the cloud for small to mid-sized law firms. They can host all software, data, and services for you in their secure, compliant environment, as well as manage your workstations and network. They also provide a full-service help desk, best practice backup, and more. Cost is based on the number of users, number of office locations, and software hosted. Most firms find that they save 30 to 40% of their IT budget over having an in-house server and all the separate costs that go into providing local IT. Thank you in advance for the attention you will be giving this webinar today. And Ronny, I'm handing it over to you.
Great, thank you, Hella, and very nice introduction. I appreciate it. I feel like we could even end here. That was so thorough. I appreciate it. And in all honesty, I wrote it, but I didn't. Hearing it back was a little different. Anyway, thanks for all your attention. We're going to cover some information today about how firms are looking at cloud, as Ray started, and also just want to thank Worldox for the invitation, Rebecca, Hella, and Ray at Worldox for the opportunity to share all this with you. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. We shouldn't need the full hour that's set aside, but I just want to give you a good taste of what ProCirrus does, how we put this together, because there are so many different options for cloud today. So when ProCirrus approaches cloud for law firms, we're really looking at minimizing three things. It's minimizing risk, minimizing cost, and minimizing effort. And ideally, if we can keep all those things taken care of, we can keep the environment running correctly and allow everyone to practice law, everybody's going to be happy. Now, IT is an overwhelming undertaking for anyone, for an in-house IT person, for a local IT staff, for any IT partner. There are many, many areas, 28 categories that you can see here of all the different things that need to be considered and need to be managed properly for a firm to be efficient and effective and compliant and all those other requirements. And it's a lot to do. So it needs to have the right attention, and there are efficient ways to do all this without breaking the bank. When you look at all of the data threats and data loss threats that firms face, there are many areas where a firm is at risk, and those things need to be considered. And in order for you to meet your duties as members of the bar, the 1.6 rules you have to manage your data, to protect your client information, to do the proper due diligence. We start by looking at all the different possibilities that a firm has to lose data and create risk and create problems for themselves and for their clients. So there are three main areas of this. One is data at rest. And in that area, we're looking at where data is stored and where data can slip through the cracks. You've got data download and theft, you've got unencrypted data theft, physical media loss or theft, physical device security. A story comes to mind here in Minnesota, where I'm based. We had a consultant that was doing work for one of the major hospital systems. They had a laptop with 144,000 patient records on it while they went into Starbucks one day, leaving the laptop in the car. And when they came out from Starbucks with their tall latte, they found that the laptop had been stolen. And because the patient records were stored on the laptop, they had to do a breach notification, and the Attorney General barred them from doing business in the state of Minnesota for 6 years. So if their data was properly encrypted or stored in the right cloud, they would have lost the laptop, but they wouldn't have lost their business. So these are areas that we really need to be thinking about how to protect our firm. The second area is data in motion. So when you're using a cloud system or remoting into your environment because you're home in quarantine, data is traveling through the internet, and you need to make sure that it's protected and it's properly encrypted. So there can be issues with an insecure, unmonitored firewall, no network monitoring, unlimited internet access, data loss in messaging and email. We have lots of people that are sending sensitive information through a regular email and not realizing the concern that that email can be viewed by other parties that you don't expect to. And so there are measures that are available for encrypting email and for sending information in a secure manner. Insecure remote access is another one. We see a lot of firewalls that are open for people to remote in through a VPN or remote desktop during the quarantine. We realized folks had to do what they had to do to keep the world turning and keep the firm running, but it's creating a lot of risk. And the next is data in use. So when it's running on your computers, data is sometimes not protected because of insufficient password policies, authentication that's too simple. We see people reusing the same password for Facebook and Netflix, as well as their company access. And you know, it's very easy for the bad guys to figure those things out through things like social engineering, which is why we don't post our birth dates online and things like that. Unlimited data export, mobile devices that are insecure, so many different ways. And so, you know, if you're not overwhelmed already, you're not paying attention, because there are a lot of risks here in protecting your firm. So this all brings about the question too, as you're thinking about cloud, does it make sense any longer to have in-house servers? And so you look at the volume of work to maintain it and support it that we've just been discussing. Then you look at the lack of scalability of owning servers and owning all of that licensing. Scalability both up and down. You see business grow because there's a lot going on. Maybe you're a default services firm and the economy is going through a bad time, so there are going to be more foreclosures. You've got to ramp up your staff. Then when the business goes through its normal cycles and things slow down, you may want to turn things down. But if you already own those servers, if you already own all those licenses, you're already paying for all that, whether you're using it or not. So there's no scalability. Next is the human resources cost of IT staff. That there's a lot of expense that goes with that. In some cases, it's warranted and necessary, in others, maybe it isn't. Then you look at the fixed capital expense versus the flexible operating expense of owning servers that I just described with the scalability piece. And lastly, now that people are coming out of this, hopefully starting to come out, and we keep coming out of this quarantine COVID world, now all of a sudden people are saying, well, we just had everybody work at home for 9 weeks, and you know, wondering as they sign their next lease whether they're going to take on as much office space. Well, if you're going to have people working from home, now it becomes incumbent to have a secure, effective remote solution that can allow for that to happen. So when you choose the right cloud partner, there are a lot of benefits. Number one, cost savings through economy of scale. There's simplicity of management, enhanced security, better customer service through having a help desk available to you, built-in compliance to help lower your burden if you have institutional clients that are asking you to evidence the kind of security you have and meet some very high stringent requirements. There's the ability to work from anywhere, the ability to scale up and down as I've been describing, a concentration of expertise in all those 28 categories that I mentioned at the beginning, and business continuity by having the right backup and disaster recovery in place. So now you've decided you want to go to cloud, or maybe you're starting to think about going to cloud, and now you find out there are so many different types of cloud. Like Ray mentioned at the beginning, there are lots of different solutions where they're just giving you one application inside of a web browser, and that's all they're doing. And you can see the list here of different applications and different approaches to cloud that I have shown here. The first is that web-based version of an application, and that's all they do for you. It means that everything else has to be managed elsewhere. Then the next level up is cloud servers, where you can go to an Amazon or you can go to a Microsoft or any of the other types of companies out there and basically rent servers to host your data. But that's where the data and the software would be running, but then you're still required to manage all of it, okay? Then you get to the next level up, which is desktop as a service, and that would be known as a cloud desktop, where you log into a remote environment and all of your software is there running for you. And so that's a more comprehensive solution, but it still leaves out the management of your computers, your firewalls, your network, your Wi-Fi access points, and so on. And then the last level, the highest level here, is infrastructure or IT as a service, which is what ProCirrus does, where it's end-to-end. So lots of different types of cloud, and knowing the different versions of it helps you to understand what you're getting and helps you to be able to compare. Now, the big question that comes about here is, well, as we're looking at moving to cloud, what if we don't want to change software? Well, this is also what Ray mentioned at the beginning of the call. Well, there are solutions like ProCirrus where you can just take the software that you're using today and put that into a cloud environment and still access it. So it limits the amount of change that your people have to go through to adapt to a new system, because we all love change, right? And it allows you to stay with the programs that you know. but be able to get out of the business of owning equipment and so on. So now to start turning the corner and describing our business specifically a little bit before I demo and show you the system, ProCirrus is a customer service-centric technology company. We provide our clients with a comprehensive IT solution. It includes server hosting, local network and hardware management, integrated compliance, and full end user support. So it is an end-to-end model. It's made to simplify IT management, giving you a secure and effective solution at a lower overall cost than trying to assemble all these pieces yourself. We've been in business since 1999, so we're certainly not new at this. We are legal specific, so overwhelming majority of the clients we serve are law firms, probably about 90%, maybe a little bit more. Really the best part about ProCirrus, above everything I'll show you and tell you about, is that we have an incredibly personable and knowledgeable staff. The folks that are on the phones providing tech support, as well as the infrastructure management, even the setup at the beginning, they have a wonderful bedside manner. They're great to talk to. They're very nurturing, and all of our support is included. So you don't have to worry about nickel and diming or racking up the costs for the firm when you have a question and want to make a call. We also operate off of a month-to-month agreement. So you're able to add and remove services as you wish. You're only ever billed for what you're actually using, and it's completely scalable. And our pricing's been very stable over the 9 years I've been with the company, which is a normal question that comes with a month-to-month contract. We think of ourselves as large enough to do it right, but not too large to lose a personal touch. We have data centers in Portland and in Atlanta, and we're supporting somewhere around 300 firms today. The data centers are all fully audited and certified. Oops, I want to tell you, we own all of our own equipment. The data centers are incredibly secure, reinforced environments. They have fingerprint and iris scan security. They have redundant power. They have armed guards 24/7, so incredibly secure. And then as far as security goes, for ProCirrus, we also go through annual audits every year to make sure that we are compliant with all the requirements that you are, and to help lower your burden. Now, some cloud companies will just rely on the audits of their data centers. We go the extra mile to be audited ourselves as an IT company to make sure that we have all the evidence necessary to help you meet your requirements in your audits if you have them. We also use 256-bit encryption at rest, in motion, and in use to bring forward those terms that I used earlier to make sure that you know you're encrypted everywhere. So if you're working at home, or you're working at the office, or you're working overseas, you are compliant and safe. We're here to ease your compliance burden, so if you have any audits that you need to go through, we recommend that each firm has its own written security policies. We're basically just there to facilitate the majority of them, and if you get audits and questionnaires, we're happy to help you complete them. The ProCirrus Cloud is an end-to-end solution, as I said, so all of your software and data runs in the cloud environment. And then we're going to oversee your internet. We're going to oversee your firewalls, your scanners, your Wi-Fi access points. We're going to keep your computers up to date with antivirus, patch management. We're also going to manage your user policies. Mobile devices can access the system, and we can manage those too. And the best part is you don't need to own servers anymore, so you get out of the server business. As far as support goes, we approach this as a single vendor approach. So most firms that we meet are set up where a company user with a problem goes to an internal resource. They ask the question, and either they can fix it or they have to go and start contacting different vendors, depending on the nature of the question, and then they have to play referee between all those vendors. With ProCirrus, we encourage and welcome everyone to contact the help desk directly. The support's all included. They can get the help they need and move on, and then management has oversight. And if there are any requirements that would change pricing or permissions or security, we're going to contact the administrator for permission on that. So you have the oversight without being the conduit that everything has to run through. Now we're using published applications through Citrix to deliver the services out to your computers. And the special part here is that unlike a typical remote environment where the software is running on your computer and the server is somewhere out on the internet, which can cause speed issues, in our system, the software and the data, the database side or the server side are running together in the data center. So they're on high-speed equipment, they're right there together, so everything's very fast. And then a visual representation of what's happening in the data center gets sent out to your computers for you to interact with. So the nice part there is there's no data stored locally on the computers. They're fully secure and safe. And you get the speed of everything working together in close proximity on the servers. So let's go and log into the ProZone. I'll show you what that looks like for a couple more minutes, and then we'll be able to take your questions. This is what the regular computer desktop looks like. We would test your computers, look at all their specs, make sure they're up to snuff and they're going to perform well. We look at your internet, we evaluate everything from end to end, and then we move everything in. When you log into the system, you click on this icon on your desktop, and then our login screen comes up. I'm going to use my demo account. You put in your full email address. And password. And then you log in, and what comes up is what we call the ProZone. And this is our web-based environment. And this part of it, the web-based part, is just where you launch the applications, okay? So in this window, you've got your Microsoft applications through Office 365. You've got your company shared drive for any documents that are not being stored in Worldox. You have your personal private documents folder, desktop folder that's also private to you. We have a variety of PDF editors available. We have your browsers here, devices and printers, and this is all on the Home tab. There's also an Apps tab where you can go and look for other software you have that you might want. And here's Worldox, and I can in fact put a star on that. And then when I go back out to my Home tab, you'll see that, oh, let's do that one more time, Ronnie. You should see that it's going to show up on that screen. But we're not going to dwell on that anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and launch that first program of my session. And what it does is it takes about 30 seconds for the system to launch. And once the system launches, it makes it appear as though all the programs are running locally right on the computer, when in fact, as I described, they're actually running in the cloud environment. So we've got Worldox open. Now that that's open, I can go and open up Outlook. And we'll just give that a second. And the nice part about this is once it establishes that encrypted connection, as I said, you can work from anywhere. You can work on multiple monitors. You can drag the applications wherever you want. You can minimize the programs down to the taskbar to go and open up another program. And everything is going to be seamless and easy and smooth, and it's going to be very simple to work with the software that you're used to working with. So if I want to go into Worldox just to show you what that looks like in the system, it's going to be the same system you're used to working with. It looks the same, it performs quickly. You can open up all of your documents. You can search for everything in here. Let's search for common term here, and so you'll be able to see that the searching is quick. The performance of opening documents and everything is very quick and immediate. So the benefit here is that we are going to fine tune your entire system from end to end to make sure that it's going to perform smoothly and that it's going to perform as though it's a local environment and local performance. We even got the integrations with Outlook working. So one of the big concerns that people have when they go to a cloud environment is it going to be slow? And we do so much to make sure that it's going to work well. We manage your firewall, we test your internet, we optimize your computers, and the technology that Citrix offers, as I mentioned earlier, makes it so that almost over any internet connection, it's going to perform smoothly and look just like it would at the office. In some cases, I've even had people tell me once they've gone live that it's even faster because they're working on faster, more optimized equipment, and maybe the servers that they had prior to the migration were a little outdated and needed to be replaced, or a move to a system like ours would be called for. So that's that's kind of a quick overview. I just want to briefly show you as well what the support site and support situation looks like. So down here at the bottom of our ProZone, you can click on the ProCirrus support link, and it takes you to our help desk site, where we have on-screen chat. We have a knowledge base with user guides and instructions. We have a ticket form here where people can fill out a request and let us know the level of importance. We also have our phone line, and then you can also just email right from Outlook. So however you want help, our help desk, as I said, is included. The hours are extensive, the response times are fast, and people are extremely happy with ProCirrus support. So with that, I want to just open it up and see if you have any questions, and thank you for looking in on what we had to share today. So I'm going to take a look at some of the questions that have been sent over to me. The first one here says, can you run this from a Mac or from tablets? Yes, you can. There is a Citrix application that can be downloaded to Mac and also for iPads or Android tablets. Our personal preference as an IT company and in the experience we have with our customers is that a PC probably provides the most stable environment, because Citrix has 100 million users worldwide, and there's a very small percentage of them that uses Mac. So their investment dollar and their update dollar and so on goes into the PC platform first. But that said, yes, you can use it on Macs, and we have plenty of people around the country that do. In most cases, I would say that our customers typically have a PC as their primary work device, and then for mobile or for home, they would have a Mac if that's their choice. Some of our customers do have Mac. The visual representation, the interface is a little bit different, but yeah, they definitely work. Let's see if there are any other questions that came in that Hella is sending over to me. And at this point, it looks like that's the only one. Hella or Rebecca, anything you can think of, or Ray? Hey, Ray's still there.
Yeah, well, I sort your video image here, you know, so
sure.
I'm on my, I kind of quieted myself. So question, this is really cool. You know, I honestly, we've been working together for years and know each other well, but I've never really, you know, had to demo your system, right? I just know our clients love it, and it works really well, and a lot of our resellers recommend it and utilize it. This is really exciting. I just think, you know, some of my resellers, you know, encourage me to get the message out more, thus these webinars, and we'll do more of these, because, you know, so we want to show technology that works well and works in a normal world, but also has some contingencies and you know, data recovery means built into them, right? So important. Mm-hmm. That's security too, right? You got to throw that third topic in there.
Right.
So firms that were on your system prior to March-ish, and we issued the stay-at-home across the nation. Firms that were on this here. So how long? So they just need a computer at home, basically.
Yep.
And how long to set them up on that? Attorney goes home, they have their home computer, and maybe most of them would already have been set up, but probably not secretaries. Right? I mean,
sure.
Now they have to work at home.
Yeah.
So the setup for them on their home computer, what would that look like?
All you do is from any browser on your computer, you go to download Citrix, and the website comes up. You find the download and pull it into your computer. From there, you just go to login.procirrus.com and log in, and then it's basically the same as being at the office.
That's fantastic. You know, I'm here in my Arizona office here, and so I use you know, Worldox cloud or web and or enterprise to log into my Worldox data center, right? And so I have that problem. So I get Worldox fine, no problem, because we have mobile methods. But I'm in this boat there where I can't get to my contactees. I love contactees for tracking customers and so forth, and a lot of other systems that we use, QuickBooks. We're not in the cloud for that yet, and I really can't access that. So I know Rebecca came from a large law firm, and she was entirely Citrix, so she continues to preach this to us. We just haven't moved there yet. So really exciting that literally you can get to all your apps from anywhere, not just a particular one. So yeah, that's really cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. And again, we're very excited to be doing this with you, and it's fun to get to show this to you and your customers. I see a couple more questions came in. how have people been doing with working from home since COVID began? It's been going very well. You know, we had to disperse some of our staff to work from home as well, but we've been continuing to keep up with the support requests, and the setup, like we just talked about with Ray, was very straightforward. We had an opportunity in April to bring live a 340 user firm in Atlanta during the quarantine, and they were all at home. So it was something we hadn't taken on before. We were all a little bit terrified, but it went really, really well. We got their computers set up, we did training, we did support, and we've been getting really nice letters and emails from our customers saying that this absolutely kept their firm running, and it was a seamless transition to working from home. So you know, we think we hear it's been going very well. The next question that came in was, have we had any internet connection issues? Very minimal. You know, in our data centers, we are what's called on net with Comcast and with, I had to go through some name changes because it used to be Time Warner, which was bought by Level 3, which was bought by CenturyLink. So we are on net with CenturyLink and Comcast. Those two companies make up probably 2/3 of the backbone of the internet in the US, in addition to Verizon and AT&T maybe. So we have redundant connections in the data center. Some of our clients choose to have redundant connections in their office, maybe a main nice fiber line and then a smaller backup cable line from different providers, just in case there's any kind of an interruption from one or the other. The issues are really very minor. The other nice part is, again, because this works from anywhere, if there has been a situation, for example, you know, an unexpected line cut because of some construction outside an office, everybody can just pick up and go work at Starbucks or work at home or wherever they need to. Or people, if they have Wi-Fi on their phones, they can connect to their phones to log into the system. So there are lots and lots of ways to get to the system. The other neat thing to talk about is, you know, as far as connection and issues and things like that, several years ago, during Hurricane Sandy, or Superstorm Sandy as they called it, we had firms in New York and Connecticut where their areas were decimated, and the firms that were on ProCirrus were working. They never missed a day because they had power and internet at home or somewhere else, where firms in their same buildings weren't open for 6 or 8 weeks. So you know, we have parts of the country that are, you know, that are hurricane prone, that receive a lot of winter weather, where, you know, things may happen. And of course, you know, what's been going on in the world in this sci-fi thriller of a 2020, you know, it's put us all at home at various cases. So so it's a very resilient system to make sure that you can work from anywhere, that your system is stable and reliable, and we've got backup in data centers on both coasts, and everything's taken care of for you. So it really allows, as I said at the beginning, it really allows the firm to practice law, and you know, even with home connections, home internet connections, our system is trained to self-adjust depending on the quality of the internet connection it's traveling over. So if you're at home and you've got a great fiber connection, great. If you're home and you've got a cable connection and your kids are home studying and doing distance learning, and your neighbors are you know, furloughed and watching Netflix, you know, the system is going to account for that and still maintain the performance, so it doesn't become slow and laggy and frustrating. So, you know, in this system, you know, we talk about all kinds of different separate cloud-based systems that folks are using. What's really nice about this, and really what makes Worldox one of our favorite programs, is because it works right inside of our system. And so the more we can host inside of our system, in our ecosphere, the more data we can store, the more software that runs right from our system, the better job we can do of optimizing and maximizing the performance of all of that. Some of the other programs that are web-based, you know, people come into our system, and then they have to take a right turn and go out through the internet to another data center to pull their documents back in. And you know, that can be made to work pretty well, but it just doesn't do what Worldox does. And Worldox is one of our most stable, most successful programs, and our clients are very happy with it. So that's just one more reason we're really happy to be doing this with you today.
I love the plug there, you know, and I was going to say a couple of notes. So yeah, five years ago, so maybe we wouldn't say we would hesitate more in the internet connection, but oh my goodness, recently, especially the Netflix 4K streaming that everybody's doing. You know, ask them how much they have a blip in their seasons that they're watching. Probably not much, right? Probably more the bandwidth of what you push out there. So, and you know, I tell people it's hard. You know, we don't want to bash competitors, but there is just no way you're going to provide a as good as interface. Even my competitor iManage knows this. They still offer their heavy client as a Windows client sitting there right next to Word and Outlook, and like you said, in the same location. We have our own Web 3.1 product, which is you know, maturing every day better, but it is nothing like our regular Worldox GX client. So this is really cool stuff, Ronnie.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate it again. And I just put my information on the screen if anyone's interested in learning more or going into a more in-depth demo, getting some pricing, talking about the transition or whatever comes up to help do your due diligence to see if this is a good fit for you. Please take my contact information and let's set up a time to talk. So I'll turn it back over to you, Hella, and or you, Ray, and thank you all for your time and attention today. Appreciate it very much.
Ronnie, thank you so much for doing the webinar with us today. We are going to post a recording of the webinar, so anyone who was not able to attend, they can still get a chance to see it. And to everyone who were able to join us today, thank you very much, and we hope you will join us again next week for future weeks for other webinars. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.